Back to the Stephen A. Smith Show. Before I get on out of here, I had to talk about a story that's very, very important. And albeit indirectly, it involves Caitlin Clark.
Stephen A. Smith just said the comm section out loud, and the WNBA won't like the music at all. The rumors have been going on for nearly 2 years. We've heard tales of hostility, jealousy, even a deliberate effort to prevent the biggest female athlete from competing. But the latest developments involving Nike, Travis Scott, and the Kelsey brothers have fundamentally changed the landscape of professional basketball. Stephen A. Smith did more than just defend the Indiana Fever star this morning. We were all too afraid to express our suspicions, but he confirmed them. These days, Sophie and Caitlin Clark are more than just basketball players. No amount of public relations can bridge the growing divide between them and the rest of the league, since they are a global economy. If you thought the initial $28 million contract was the major deal, you were wrong. That was only a small portion of a much bigger endeavor. We are seeing a financial shift that has the potential to destroy the fragile WNBA ecosystem. Stephen A. Smith exclaims, "I told you so," from a high perch. To understand why this week's news is so surprising, we need to look at the incident that started it all. The Christmas Day commercial that went viral online exposed the internal turmoil inside the WNBA. While families were exchanging gifts and watching the NBA schedule 3 days ago, Nike dropped a bomb that made the rest of the WNBA look like a local recreational league. They created the From Anywhere commercial, a significant cinematic advertising campaign, to promote her upcoming signature shoe, the Caitlin ones, which will debut in the spring of 2026. But the nuances are important. Examine the individuals in that advertising closely. It wasn't her WNBA co-workers. Legends of the women's game like Cheryl Swoops and Diana Taurasi weren't involved. Rapper Travis Scott was present. There were the Kelsey brothers. They completely avoided the WNBA ecology and became stars of global culture. Nike made the deliberate and calculated decision to position Sophie and Caitlin Clark next to pop culture icons. According to Stephen A. Smith, this was not a coincidence. This was a proclamation. It screams one thing. WNBA clearance is no longer required for Caitlin Clark and Sophie. They have outperformed the league before their second season has even achieved its full potential. Furthermore, Stephen A. asserts that this specific ad is the greatest nightmare for an aging guard in the WNBA. They requested that she pay off her debts. She was meant to wait for her turn. Instead, Nike ignored everyone else and just handed her the keys to the kingdom. But since the jealousy derives from the money, we need to talk about the statistics in order to completely understand the gravity of what Stephen A. Smith is saying. When news of her original 8-year contract spread, the league's locker rooms were already antagonistic. Players who had been working hard for 10 years had to deal with a rookie earning more in endorsements than the entire team's payroll. But according to new data from Nike headquarters, the initial $28 million estimate was incredibly cautious. In the first 3 years, the Caitlin Clark trademark shoe line alone may bring in $150 million, according to insiders. Think about that. Please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel if you enjoy the content. It may surprise you to learn that almost 83% of viewers have not yet subscribed. Even though it only takes a second and is free, it means the world to us. Have you already subscribed? Fantastic! I sincerely appreciate your help. Let's return to the video now. $150 million. The average WNBA player makes about $76,000 a year. The maximum compensation is less than $250,000. Stephen A. Smith claims that this massive wealth disparity is the radioactive core of the dispute we are seeing on the court. It's more than just basketball these days. It's about a rookie who earns more money than most players would ever see in a single sneaker drop. Stephen A. Smith also contends that human nature is indisputable. It is impossible to create such economic inequality in a competitive locker room environment without inciting contempt. At this moment, Stephen A. Smith joins the discussion with his most spectacular confirmation to date. He went on record this week to further his controversial jealous plot, making it obvious that hostility toward Caitlin Clark and Sophie will surely skyrocket following this commercial showing. His logic is clear-cut but severe. Both the women who started this league and the veterans who took commercial flights and performed in abandoned gyms feel overlooked. They feel like they've worked hard just to watch a rookie go in and get the Michael Jordan treatment. Smith warns that the tough fouls, hard checks, and freezing out from the previous season were just warm-up exercises. Since she is now the official face of Nike basketball, regardless of gender, the target on her back has multiplied tenfold. We must consider the context of Nike's aggressive strategy. Nike is not a non-profit. They are a data-driven machine. They examined the ratings. They watched the jersey sales. They saw the lines surrounding the block in Indianapolis. They soon found out that Caitlin Clark is a unicorn. While the WNBA league office sought to distribute the marketing funds among the 12 clubs in an attempt to promote justice and equity, Nike used a different strategy. They put all of their money on the star. From the beginning, Stephen A. Smith has been critical of the WNBA's handling of Caitlin Clark's entry, saying they botched the bag by trying to restrict her fame in order to placate other players. This demonstrates the league's massive strategic failure. The WNBA tried to be courteous. They tried to portray us as a league with many stars. The league feels ashamed of the discrepancy. Nike responded, "No, you have one megastar and we are going to treat her like it." Nike sees her as an icon, but the NBA sees her as just another rookie who needs to get in line. According to Stephen, this advertisement shows how the WNBA has lost narrative control. In terms of size, Caitlin Clark has outgrown the shield. When Travis Scott co-signs you, you no longer need the support of the league's veterans. But let's look at the story of jealousy that Stephen A. Smith has begun giving more specific promotions. Do you remember the controversies over the past 2 years? Remember the Kennedy-Carter hip check? Remember the conflict between Reese and Angel? Remember getting excluded from the basketball team? Stephen A. Smith connects all of these details to this exact time. According to him, all of those occurrences were symptoms of the same disease, resentment. The basketball snub in particular appears even more ridiculous in hindsight. The Indiana Fever Committee chose to keep the most marketable athlete in the world at home because she lacked experience. Now, the same athlete is the main focus of a Nike advertisement that outperforms the entire basketball marketing effort. Stephen A. Smith revealed the hypocrisy in real time on television. He underlined that while the WNBA and the basketball committee were playing politics, corporate America was trying to win. He noticed that gatekeepers in women's basketball tried to demean her. They tried to persuade her that she wasn't special. And what was the result? She became more powerful, wealthy, and well-known. In contrast, the gatekeepers came out as rude and callous. Stephen A. Smith's confirmation is essentially a victory lap. "I told you that you were mistreating her, and now Nike has proven it," he says. With the introduction of the Caitlin ones set for April 2026, the hype train has officially left the station. Since the hardware is a crucial component of this jigsaw, and what the fans are genuinely waiting for, let's talk about it. Getting a signature sneaker is the rarest honor in basketball. Very few WNBA players have ever owned one. Breanna Stewart owns one. Compared to Sabrina Ionescu, Caitlin Clark's debut is on a different scale. Instead of a WNBA sneaker, industry analysts are likening this to the launch of the Air Jordan. They expect lines. They expect reselling markets to flourish. Nike's new interlocking C logo has already been seen on billboards and t-shirts all around the nation. This logo is significant. It is establishing her as a standalone brand. When you see the Jumpman, you think of Jordan, not the Chicago Bulls. When you see the interlocking C, Nike wants you to think of Sophie and Caitlin Clark instead of the WNBA or the Indiana Fever. This small difference pushes the wedge farther. She is beginning to establish herself as a brand, regardless of the league she plays in. Stephen A. Smith warns that this kind of leverage puts the WNBA at risk since they need her considerably more than she needs them. This raises a topic that Stephen A. Smith has never shied away from: race. He has frequently discussed how Caitlin Clark's race affects her coverage and reaction. He has maintained that the fact that a white player from Iowa is being heralded as the savior of a league that has been dominated by black women for 25 years is part of the reason for the outrage. Smith insists that this uncomfortable conversation happen in private. The Nike contract, which completely supports Caitlin Clark, exacerbates this. Even while other celebrities might get less attention, it adds to the myth of privilege. However, Stephen A. disputes this by pointing to the green. Business is business, he argues. Caitlin Clark is seating people. She works as a jersey salesperson. She has the highest TV ratings the WNBA has ever seen. Smith says the players should commend her for raising the potential wage cap rather than freezing her out. He confirmed that although while the increasing tide, charter flights, better hotels, and greater media attention are helping everyone, the participants are more worried about who is in charge than they are about having fun. The From Any Place advertisement also highlights a major cultural shift by utilizing Travis Scott and the Kelsey brothers. Nike claims that Sophie and Caitlin Clark are crossover stars. She appeals to NFL fans. She attracts hip-hop fans. She will appeal to people who have never watched a quarter of WNBA basketball. This is the ultimate in marketing. The WNBA has advertised mostly to its existing fanbase for a considerable amount of time. Sophie and Caitlin Clark demolished that wall. Stephen A. Smith claims that because of her widespread appeal, she is untouchable. If the WNBA players try to abuse her or play dirty the next season, it won't just be basketball fans who take offense. It will originate from the general populace. Let's examine how we arrived at this point, as this timeline demonstrates inevitability. After Caitlin Clark departed Iowa, there was intense rivalry for her services. Arua wanted her. Despite Adidas's successful marketing, Nike realized they couldn't lose her. They saw the lengthy process of delaying the introduction of the shoes until the spring of 2026. Soren's was computed. Their goal was to increase the tension. They wanted to extend her rookie season. Let the stories unfold. Let the bad guys emerge so that when they dropped the shoe, the film's climax would take place. Stephen A. claims that Nike's performance in the WNBA was perfect. Nike is currently promoting the related products after they permitted the league to create the drama. Another problem is the Sabrina effect. Caitlin Clark's debut is apparently being prepared with 5 times the inventory, despite Sabrina Ionescu's shoe launch being a hit. That is incredible. Nike is betting that this sneaker will become a mainstay of lifestyle clothing, much like Jordans or Dunks. If both guys and girls wear the Caitlin ones to school, the mall, and the club, she becomes ubiquitous. Stephen A. Smith claims that once a player attains lifestyle status, they are immortal in the athletics world. LeBron has it, Jordan has it, and Caitlin Clark will follow. So what does the WNBA do now? That was the question Stephen A. Smith posed to his other hosts. The league is facing a challenging circumstance. They can't disregard her or risk losing the money, but they also can't be seen as giving her undue preference or risk losing the locker room. Smith issued a warning, or rather, some very plain advice, to the league. Become a part of the group or risk falling behind. He predicts that the Caitlin Clark talks will essentially be the next TV rights talks. Networks finance her rights. If she were to retire tomorrow, the league's worth would plummet. Despite the painful reality of the approaching season, Smith confirmed that it is genuine. This power dynamic makes the upcoming season incredibly fascinating. We will see an attempt by a league to exert control over a player whose wealth exceeds that of the league. It's a classic struggle for dominance. Stephen A. compares it to the early NBA with Jordan or the PGA Tour with Tiger Woods. The establishment continuously opposes the abnormality. They hate the anomaly because it draws attention to their own flaws, but ultimately, the anomaly wins out. Nike has placed a bet on the anomaly. We also need to talk about the freezing out charges that surfaced last year. In some instances, it seemed as though opponents were defending her with excessive force or officials were lowering their whistles while teammates ignored her. Stephen A. Smith claims that this Nike deal will act as a buffer. With hundreds of millions of dollars at risk for a corporate behemoth, the league cannot afford to allow their asset to be damaged. Smith speculates that the whistle may be more stringent next year. To protect their investment, the league office may step in. And if that happens and Caitlin Clark starts getting calls from celebrities, the hostility in the locker room will blow up. If you appreciate this content, consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel. Believe it or not, more than 83% of viewers haven't subscribed yet. It's free and only takes a second, but it means the world to us. So, did you subscribe already? Great. Thank you so much for your support. Now, back to the video. Stephen A. noted that the Kelsey brothers' inclusion in the advertisement is yet another clever choice. The Kelseys represent the NFL machine, the biggest sports organization in the United States. By associating Caitlin Clark with Nike, the company quietly lets the audience know that she is a significant player. She is not a specialized athlete. She is as famous as Sunday Night Football. This pleases the capitalists who wish to see the sport prosper. On the other hand, purists who wish to maintain the WNBA's distinctiveness and culture are furious. Smith is steadfastly in support of growth, saying that anyone who opposes it poses a danger to the sport's future. What about the shoe itself? Although we haven't seen the final hues, the interlocking C design is praised for its simplicity and versatility. However, the shoe is a symbol of possession that goes beyond appearances. Equity and ownership are vital in today's sports environment. Although information about her royalties are confidential, Stephen A. surmises that she receives a large portion. She might be earning $10 to $15 million a year from footwear royalties alone if she is receiving a typical royalty rate on a product volume this huge. That is generational wealth created every year. When Caitlin Clark enters the arena, she is effectively the CEO of a major firm, and her opponents are workers seeking for a contract renewal, creating a strange dynamic. According to Stephen A. Smith, it is impossible to miss this psychological factor. It is intellectually demanding to defend someone who is worth 100 times as much as you are. The aggression is altered. The motivation is shifted. Some players will become smaller. Some will attempt to hack off her head. Smith affirms that the forthcoming season will be the most aggressive physical setting Caitlin Clark has ever had to cope with since the money is now legitimate. It is no longer speculative. The advertisements are active. The check has been cleared. The Nike family is another significant component. By hiring her, Nike is integrating Travis Scott into their music and entertainment division. Please use the comment area to express your opinions. To ensure you don't miss anything, subscribe and turn on all notifications. Once you click the video on the screen, we'll see you in the next one. Please share your thoughts in the comment section, subscribe, and enable all notifications so you don't miss anything. We'll see you in the next one after you click the video on the screen.